Good afternoon, John Verlin with you on Demand Advertising Solutions with another Digital Marketing Update podcast. Wanted to talk today about five key things, five key values that your business can have that will net you more customers. It's from an article that Kenny Klein, founder of Jack Solutions, had in Inc. magazine last month. And the reason I want to talk about it is he hit some pretty good points you would think are common sense, but because of today's new digital technologies and expectations from customers with online sales and all that sort of thing, it's something definitely worth repeating. And I actually was talking to a client about this several months ago as we were talking about his marketing campaign and how all this could tie in to benefit his customers and keep him front and center in their minds. Several things that Mr. Klein mentioned here. The first one is transparency. And he talks a lot, a lot of buzz lately about this. Consumers want to know the background of the brand. They want to know the inner workings. They want to know you, so to speak, your products, your services, things like that. That's one reason I do these podcasts. Sort of, you can kind of get behind the screen, so to speak, and get to know the personality of the owner or the leaders of the business and their products. I recently saw a Amazon original called Harley and the Davidsons. I've never been a Harley owner, but I've known people who have, and I thought it was really interesting because I've always wondered how the company got started, who the owners were, that kind of thing, and that's really what this original series was about, and you felt like you got to know them better. And I know they're going to make sales from it, just from people being exposed to them, but also getting to know them, how they got started, how it all came about, basically. So that's part of transparency. Let them get to know you better. And hand in hand with that, Mr. Klein talks about being honest. This is something that you would think this is obvious, but you can't misrepresent your brand or your product. How many times have we seen you ordered something and it was a different color or whatever, and you just felt you got ripped off, and your good feeling for buying that, suddenly you're not happy at all. You're angry. It just did the opposite. So we need to be, honest in our representations. He talks about empathy too. Customers today, we want to feel more than a number. And that's why exceptional customer service, exceptional care of how we are being treated, basically, it can make or break the consumer relationship. Matter of fact, Mr. Klein says that up to 68% of customers will stop buying a brand if they experience poor customer service. Think about that. Now, on the flip side, they're willing to pay more and remain brand loyal and practice brand advocacy when they feel a brand delivers exceptional customer service. Think about the last time you had an issue and you called customer service or chatted with them and they resolved it, and how good you felt. I just had one recently I won't go into, but I thought it was resolved, and really it wasn't. It was passed down to somebody else, so to speak. The buck was passed, but I went from feeling good to feeling kind of crappy, and I just gave up. So that's the empathy thing, and that's important. So we need to remember that, because customers want to feel special. They're not just a number, and that customer service, we hear about it, but it really is important. I had a customer I talked to years ago, and we just talked about everything from sports to whatever, and we got done. He just said, I really appreciate you being so open and sharing who you are. I really feel like I know who I'm doing business with, and it made a big difference. It made my day, and I didn't even think about it. I just did it. But that's really important, having that empathy. And of course, it's like they say, you treat one person well and they tell 10 others. So very important. Consumer advocacy, Mr. Klein also talks about. It really is, it's utilizing insights into consumers' needs and their pain points and really providing real solutions that can make a difference in their lives. There's an example of a casket company he gives called Willow and Worth, and that instead of ripping people off with their emotions in buying a casket when a loved one died, they just basically offered lower cost caskets, and they cut out the funeral directors as middlemen. And it made people appreciate them. They were fighting for the consumer, basically. And finally, ethical business practices. This is, you again would think this would be a standard thing, but Millennials today kind of are really pushing this. They want to know, what kind of business practices do you have? Does your business have more than just your financial gain? They want to, they want to support companies that are into workers' rights, that invest in environmental sustainability, inclusiveness. You're hiring people with different backgrounds, and you know what? If you fail to live up to that, they'll take their business elsewhere. So these values generate more and more loyal customers. And when we add these things together, the upfrontness, getting to know you, and you have the tools, podcasts are one of them, for example, of them getting to know you better, videos, things like that, it really builds the brand even further. As I mentioned, Harley and the Davidsons, I never knew anything about the background of Harley Davidson. Now I do, and I kind of was tempted to go buy one, even though I probably won't. But it shows the power of that, of getting your business in front of your customers and let them get to know you behind the scenes. You can do that, podcasts, videos, however you want to do that. Communicate with them efficiently and quickly on social media, things like that. Those are some of the best ways to do it because it's real time and it's right there. So anyway, 5 points Mr. Klein talked about from Inc. magazine. I wanted to share with you. And as I was talking to my client about this, he said, well, how can we incorporate some of the things we're doing with you, the social media and all these sort of things? And we talked about these are perfect platforms to be able to do this with your customer, to build that relationship. So keep these things in mind. Next time, we'll talk more about some more ideas and things you can do to improve your communication with customers with social media and things like that. So another digital marketing update. And if you need to get hold of me, Jay Verlin, Verlin 1, number 1, jverlin1@yahoo.com. Or you can call me at 816-223-2105 or go to ondemandadvertisingsolutions.com. You have a great day. We'll talk to you next week.